What's the point of it, and if it's not being spent on something you love, or someone you love? And I love the funplex, and if it's not too forward for me, you, and everyone there. He said me first, and then everyone there. Me first. Just wanted to point that out. But you just said you live in a tiny place. Couldn't you afford something better? Something more comfortable? I suppose I may as well explain. You know, I've little care for money, despite having plenty thereof. That's because I was never earning it with intent to spend a single pence on myself. It was for Stella. All of it, every pound and every dollar. Oh. When we finally understood why she'd always been weak and sickly, my parents searched far and wide for a heart specialist that could cure her. But the only one who'd work with pediatric patients was in America, and my family certainly couldn't afford anything like that. Not the travel, not the treatments. They'd already spent everything they had on my tuition. I'd be the first Sinclair to get through university. I dropped out immediately, but it wasn't enough. And with the American healthcare system being what it is, well... Yeah, you're preaching to the choir there, Percy. I decided to take action. And the fiercest look I've ever seen on the ordinarily mellow features of Percy Sinclair made itself known, which is, I'm sure, is kind of hot. Hark, you know firsthand that our society can be rough on those without the means to survive. The poor apparently don't deserve good health, according to some. So I decided not to be poor. By my intellect, I set those wheels in motion. Just as Stella put her mind to mazes, I put my mind to money. I studied, I researched, I practiced with small amounts of seed money. I lost and took out loans and tried again and again. So really, his main motivation of money is all to help his sister, not so that he can benefit from it, but his sister can benefit, which is so sweet. I only slept and ate as much as I had to. This was my singular defining purpose in life, to save Stella from a world that happily dooms the sick and poor. Within months, the loans were paid, and I was growing the war chest of my dear sister's battle. We immigrated to America together, my parents choosing to stay behind. And with plenty of zeros on hand, the doctors were all too happy to admit Stella for their treatment program. Wow. There's pride in his voice now, satisfaction at a job well done, which tapers away rather quickly.
And it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I told you that part of the story. She passed a few years ago. Simply too far gone to survive.
Sorry, Percy.
If only I'd been faster. If only I'd been richer. If only we'd caught her condition sooner. If only.
Can I hug this guy, please?
I am truly God's fool. Having lost the very thing I was trying to save, and yet with so much comfortable money to sleep on, how bitter I felt.
I see. It was never for you. It was all meant for her.
Indeed. All for her. Therefore, I'm all too happy to use what I've gathered to make the world around me a better place. It can't have been for nothing. It can't.
That is so admirable, because if you weren't able to spend it on your sister to help her recover, I'm sure his sister would want him to use that money to help other people. Because a lot of people say that money is evil, which it's not. Money is not inherently evil, but how you use money, that is really what matters the most, is how the money gets used. Money is just a tool, and the tool could be used for good things, or it could also be used for bad things, and it could also be wasted on things. And Percy is definitely not the kind of person that seems to let any of that money go to waste, because it would be a dishonor on his sister, which is amazing. As for me, I don't need much in life. I don't mind living frugally, honestly, and my day trading plus long-term investments continue to keep things floating. So you've devoted your free time to that high score, in her memory. It's silly, I know. Silly and sentimental. Suppose I'm just a silly and sentimental old fool, and I'm okay with that. So, wanna be my sugar daddy? What about investing in... Is this too forward? Is this a little bit too much? I feel like that's gonna be insulting, because the top one, even though I'm just joking, I don't want him to accidentally take it the wrong way and think that I only like him because of his money, which I don't. That's not what draws me to him, is not his money. How about investing in the Funplex? What sort of charities do you support? You mentioned charities. Where does the war chest go? Which wars are you choosing to fight these days? Astute. I give mostly to children's charities, health research, that sort of thing, and some arcade historical preservation societies. That's awesome. I am 100% on board with this, Percy. But contrary to popular belief, I'm very careful with my money. I've pledged to mix my charitable optimism with investment pragmatism. I can't save everyone, and I can't uplift every cause. I look for maximum effect, promising charities, making an impact in dreams which could soar if supported. Yeah, I mean, if you have the money to be able to send to charities, you pick the ones that you're most passionate about. So as much as I'd likely enjoy being the Funplex's patron, well, we're too risky an investment right now. Apologies, love, but quite on the money there. That's why I'm here at Max, promoting Funpalooza. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get the Funplex on the map. Not just for my own sake, but for everybody, including you. Especially you. And I'll be right there, beating the world record. You've got my word on that, Hark. That's my contribution for now. You know, twice you've let me talk your ear off with my sad, sad stories. That's a kindness I won't soon forget. But for now, I really should be getting back to Max. Perhaps you'll allow me to weep on your shoulder another day. You can weep on my shoulder or any other part of my being whenever you want, Percy. I will be here waiting for you when you need me, 100%. Count on it. Cheers, love. He's so charming! The two of us make our way back to the mini Funplex, him to resume gaming, me to catch up with Teo and Ashley again. That was cool. I enjoyed that. My current status, sitting, and enjoying it. It took a few minutes of searching and stalking, but eventually I found an open seat in the pop-up arcade. While the sit is satisfying, the rest of everything else is miserable. My feet are sore from walking all over, and I don't remember the last time I ate. I feel dehydrated, and I have a slight headache from all the noise. And there are still 4 more hours of Max left. Oh, if Gavin saw me in my current state. Leaning back, arms at my side, completely exhausted, I can picture it clearly. He'd be looming over me with his dark, unfettered eyes. He would lean in close and frown. Grumbling, he'd say, "Hark, may I remind you these seats are for patrons only." I audibly sighed just thinking about it. As luck would have it, though, Gavin and Naomi are huddled over the Gallica cabinet, trying to figure out why the monitor is not working. Freedom. My buns are experiencing the best freedom has to offer. And while my body feels like it could collapse at any moment, I feel good about it. Right? Getting the word out about Funpalooza was great. Seeing people's face light up with excitement is why I'm really here. Plus, watching Teo inspire the crowd was an added bonus. His energy is infectious. I smiled to myself. The pain in my heels and the grumbling in my tummy, worth it. While enjoying the respite, I let my eyes close for a moment. And of course, the second I do that, I hear footfalls coming closing in. There you are, Hark. We've been looking all over for you. But we were specifically going to meet back up here, at the Funplex pop-up arcade. Yeah, so we didn't expect you to be tucked in the darkest corner of the arcade. I'm hiding from Gavin. He'll put me to work if he sees me. Hiding behind the pinball machines is probably not the smartest choice then. Dummy, come on, Hark, even I would have thought of that. You know how much he loves pinball. Every spare moment he thinks no one is watching him is spent getting that high score. I have so many candid pictures on my phone of him playing pinball. You have to show me, like, right now. Haha, yes, his concentration face is so cute. Before I can even react, Ashley has her phone out and is scrolling through pictures of Gavin. Ahem. Both look up at me guiltily. Don't we have more important matters? Max is over in a few hours and we will have a lot of work left to do. You're right, Hark. Please don't tell Gavin. Your secret is safe with me. Right, so business time. I think I got something. Go on. I have a friend, and she's an indie arcade developer. The new title she's been working on is amazing. It's got co-op, it's got competition, it's got magical schoolgirls. Now you're talking. It's got it all. Wait, I'm pretty sure I've heard of this game. Is it called Magical Moon Cuties? Yeah, that's the one, and she's thinking about premiering it at Funpalooza.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh, it would be cooler than cool. It sounds interesting enough. Might make for another fun game for people to play. Definitely. My friend is somewhat renowned in the indie scene, and the game's been in development for years. I'm sure it would create some buzz, at least. Are you kidding, Teo? We'd be the talk of the arcade world. I do like being the talk of the world-sized things. Let's go check it out. I stand up, invigorated by the news. As I start walking back towards the hall with Teo, I hear a call from behind me. Wait! I turn around and see Ashley standing there, fidgeting. Her green eyes are darting back and forth nervously. Ashley? I, too, have a plan. She motions for us to come back towards her, which we do. What's your idea, Ashley? She puts an arm around Teo and the other one around me, huddling the three of us together. So what I am proposing might not be the most legal course of action. Too late. Do I even want to know? You've seen the huge monitors hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the major halls, right? How could I miss them? They're constantly bombarding us with ads and false hopes of high-quality convention food. No matter how amazingly tempting that $9 hot dog looks on the big screen, don't even think about it. Exactly my point. Everyone is looking at it. I know a way to sneak into the back area. All we have to do is break into the main communication center and upload the flyer Hark made into the rotation.
Whoa.
You want to do what? Shh, keep your voice down, Teo. Unless you want to get arrested for being an accomplice. It's a genius plan. Everyone at the Max will see our name in lights. Okay, so yeah, that's a less than legal way of getting the word out, but I have to admit, you've got me intrigued, and it definitely worked, but I don't know. Trust me. Of course we'd need to go in disguise. I'm already nicely disguised, but Hark would need to switch into something way more distracting. Why more distracting exactly? To distract from your face, of course. What I'm trying to say is people remember the costume, not the person wearing it. I've got the perfect maid costume for you. It's from Melee Maidens, the same thing my costume's from. A maid costume? You want to put me in a maid costume? It'll be fun, and just a ticket for keeping people from recognizing you. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I suggest going with Teo instead, and letting me take care of the advertising myself. It's cool, I can do it. Yeah, I am not bold enough to do anything illegal like that. Sneaking into the convention, no matter how much I want to advertise Palooza, is not something I would condone. But I don't think I'm going to be able to stop. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop Ashley even if I wanted to. So I'm just not going to take any part of it, because that is just shady AF. Totally up to you, though I think you'd look super cute as a maid. Let's not forget about magical moon cuties. I'd suggest you come with me instead. Far safer. Yeah. This is like a very easy decision for me. If things were flipped, if Teo wanted to do the shady sneaking, and Ashley wanted to do magical moon cuties, I would go to Ashley. I would go with Ashley. Because, like, this is just... Sneaking in and doing that is just against my principles, so... Both options are valid, honestly. Splashy advertising would certainly drive foot traffic, even if getting it up would be dodgy. Importantly, Iris could help us do it safely without anyone noticing. That's not the point, though. That's not the point. Even if we were able to get away with it, not the point. Safer than Ashley going off on her own to try this inadvisable stunt. But a highly anticipated indie title might do the trick, and result in far less jail time. Yeah, Teo, let's go check out Magical Moon Cuties. Ashley, you got this. You don't need any help from me. Honestly, I don't feel like getting carted off to jail today. It's not on my scheduled agenda. Plus, I'm pretty sure Ashley can handle breaking and entering all by herself. And yes, I do realize how wrong that sounds, even in my own head. I bet you'd seen plenty of heist anime, so much that you can sneak into the Natural History Museum and steal the world's biggest Faberge egg in the middle of the day. I got like 12 bobby pins holding this wig on. I won't let you down. I know you won't, and please try to be careful, and please don't tell me anything about it. I want no part of it. Ashley smiles wildly before prancing off into a crowd of arcade folk. You can stop worrying, Hark. Ashley knows exactly what she's doing. That's why I'm worried. Fair enough. Well, shall we go see a lady about an indie game? How am I doing? Yeah, I mean, I feel like since I'm still hanging out with Teo, we're still probably going to end up neck and neck between him and Percy. We shall. As we left to pop up and travel deep into the halls of Max, people kept stopping us to say hello to Teo. We'd be happily on our merry little way and then get interrupted by a random person. Oh man, it's Teo. How are you doing? Great, but hey, we are on our way to meet with someone. Let's catch up later. Cool. Laters. And this happened every couple minutes. Walking through the convention floor was like walking through a field of landmines, where instead of explosions, it was uncomfortable introductions to people I'd probably never see again. Eventually, Teo leads me back to a section of arcade games hidden behind all the major company booths near where he held his dance flash mob. What they set up here is mostly reminiscent of the rest of Max. Arcade cabinets are closely lined up side by side, making several aisles for gamers to aimlessly wander down. I would have expected to be more used to pushing my way through throngs of crowds by now, but nope. Teo and I force our way through the cuddled masses of chittering conversations. As I look around at all the different arcade games that surround us, I notice something's off. There are exactly 0 titles that I actually recognize. No Dig Dug, Gauntlet, nor Street Fighter. Not even a hint of a pinball game. I was starting to get concerned. Teo, where in Max are we? This is the Indie Mega Arcade. Well, originally they called it the Indie Mega Arcade Expo, but then IMAX sued them. The what? That didn't explain anything to me. What are all these weird games? I understand nothing. If you'll hush those alluring lips of yours for a second. Oh, snap. I'd be more than happy to explain. Wow, this guy's smooth. How can you resist? Okay, I'm hushing now. Totally and completely hushed. Now, where was I? Ah yes, the Indie Mega Arcade is a huge area of Max that showcases all the new and upcoming indie arcade games. Indie developers get a chance to show off their stuff, get useful feedback, and maybe get a few people interested in their game along the way. That's the dream of the indie dev, to make a game that people enjoy playing. I really don't know much about the indie arcade scene, admittedly. Working at the Funplex offers me a crash course in arcade culture. Every day I'm learning about completely new aspects. It does make perfect sense to have an indie game scene, I just never realized that it existed. It's pretty amazing, actually. A community of people who share ideas and a passion. Can't afford mass production runs of games, but they've got a lot of heart, you know? They can't crack out a box for every arcade on Earth, but indie developers are free to make whatever type of game they want. No pressure from a big name company either. Complete and utter creative freedom. Really, anyone can make a game if you put your mind to it. In fact, I bet even you, Hart, could make an arcade game. What say you? My game would be spectacular. Don't we have other things to focus on right now? Yeah, I've toyed with the idea. My game would be spectacular. Don't you have other games? Yeah, I've toyed with the idea. Making my own arcade game is something I remember dreaming about as a child. And recently it's something I've oft thought about in between exchanging tickets for prizes. Well, hey, who hasn't thought of making their own arcade game? It's something I would be interested in. Why not? Oh, tell me more. What kind of game would you make? I'd make a romance game. I feel like I would. I feel like that I designed a super cute puzzle game. Probably wouldn't be good at that. Rogue-like, procedurally generated, open-world, twin-stick platformer with loot boxes. No, I'd make a romance game. Which feels kind of... I feel like a huge majority of people would pick this option because they're playing a romance game right now. Not everyone would, because a lot of people still like puzzle games or rogue-like procedurally generated open-world twin-stick platformer, but yeah, I'd make a romance game. I don't know exactly how a romance arcade game would work, but I'm all about creating new genres. I was thinking some sort of game where you can date and romance people. Yes! Also, it takes place in an arcade. A game about arcade romance in an arcade. This is so meta and I love it. Yes! Really, the core of the game would take an in-depth look at all the different aspects of arcade communities and how they function and interact with each other. Yes, a bit slow for a coin-op arcade game, but also plenty of kissing and touching butts. Okay, now you're speaking my language, which is the language of love. Too easy. I like it.
All right.
Well, that's what the game will be called. It'll be called the language of love. Well, if you ever get super bored of being an arcade event manager, I can hook you up with all the proper people to launch your second career. What do you mean? Oh, I have some friends who can make arcade games for a living. Some friends? As soon as I said it, I became overtly aware of the situation. Since we stepped foot into the Indie Mega Arcade, people have been waving and nodding to Teo, not to mention all those people stopping us on the way to get over here. And all the people supporting Teo's flash mob. I'd say more than some friends. You're a popular guy.
What? Come on, that's silly.
Come on. That's silly. He waves his hand, waving off the very notion that I know to be true. Everyone knows who he is, and I had no idea. Teo's always been such a crowd pleaser at Showtime stage, but I guess his popularity spread to all facets of his life. Dance champion and indie arcade scene champion, huh?
I try to keep my friends' circles pretty separate. Sometimes it's not always perfect and they tend to overlap. You know, like a Max. But hey, it's got upsides. All my friends are here. The biggest downside of Max is just so hard to see everyone. I never get to spend enough time with them, you know?
Oh, I get you.
I got friends here in the Indie Mega Arcade. I got my Funplex crew. I got the dancing community. I just can't see them all.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what this game is about, is prioritizing who you hang out with.
And when I can't see them, I feel like I let them down. I hate having to choose between them.
I understand that. I have a lot of friends from many different circles that don't overlap, so I 100% get that.
Once again, I've failed my friends. You know, it's a surprise anyone still talks to me anymore.
This is something I actually do struggle a bit in real life, is that it is hard to juggle and balance. I mean, it's harder now that it's even exponentially harder once you get married and have kids. That makes it harder to like keep up with your many circles of friends, and if they don't tend to overlap with each other, it can be really tricky. And you feel like you disappoint them or don't spend enough time with them. Teo sighs heavily, his mood shifts from excitement to utter solace. This is the second time I've seen Teo show such anxiety today. Life is not all rainbows and puppies, is it? I can relate to his feelings, though. I've dealt with my own insecurities in my own life, my family, notably, and even getting my current job. Sad Teo is worse Teo. As his friend, I must fix this. You can't please everyone, Teo. Allow me to boost your ego. You haven't let me down. Allow me to boost your ego. I know Teo's feelings pretty down about not being able to see all 100,000s of his friends, but he has to realize how many friends he has and that they all support him no matter what. Teo, you know what I can't even fathom right now? Huh? No, what? I honestly had no idea how famous you are. Like, everybody gets together and erects a golden statue in your honor sort of famous. The kind of famous that accidentally starts cults. Good cults, though, not the kind with the sci-fi authors enthralling Hollywood celebs with tales of spaceships and volcanoes. I'm talking like happy, carefree dance cults. The writing in this game, I dig it. I dig it. It can be hit or miss at times, but this type of quirky dialogue is my jam. I'm big into that. Hark, I'm not famous or anything like that. I'm just a normal guy who just happens to have a lot of friends. Teo, that's the exact definition of popular. Popular. You're gonna be popular. I'll put you the proper poise when you talk to boys. If you looked at popular in the dictionary, your picture would be right there. I've seen so many of your friends stop and say hello to you, plus they completely understood when you told them you were busy. Not one left without a smile on their face. They really care about you. You know what, Hark? You're right. The more I hung out with Teo, the more I learned about him. It's always something new and something unexpected. Let's bring this back around to why we're here. How did you get involved in the indie arcade scene anyway? Through Michelle, the indie developer I want you to meet. I met her a few years ago at a previous Max. I was hanging out with my crew near the dancing games and she stopped by to play around. Since she was new to the scene, I struck up a conversation with her. Much like when I met you. Ah, so there was plenty of flirting then? I cannot help myself when surrounded by such beautiful, wonderful people. I like how he says people instead of women or girls. And Michelle makes indie arcade games. She's only one of the coolest and most prolific arcade developers in the industry today. She's worked on several big name indie games, and when she's not working, she's speaking all over the world about arcade development. Color me impressed. Sounds like Michelle is the sort of influential person who could really help with Funpalooza. She really is. Oh, she's cute. Hey, she's cute. I'm what now, Mateo Alvarez? Oh, Michelle, only the worst person I've ever met. As to be expected from somebody of your caliber. Touché. I was just looking for you, by the way. Well, I'm glad I found you then. What's on your mind? I wanted to introduce you to Hark. Nice to meet you. The pleasure is mine. It took me a second, but Michelle totally looks like, uh-oh. You aren't perchance also a federal agent? This is it. I'm doomed. It was a setup. I'm about to be renditioned to a CIA black site. Who, me? No way. Although my sister, well, I can neither confirm nor deny what she does for a living. Interesting. I see. Okay, that makes sense. Gotcha. I'ma shut up now and focus on arcade stuffs. I think what Hark is trying to say is that you seem to have a very confident and authoritative expression. That's all. Yep, that's exactly what I meant to get it. That's exactly what I meant. Got it on the nose. Thanks, Teo. Sure, okay, let's go with that. Anyway, I spoke with Teo earlier in the day, and he told me you had a business proposition. Consider me all ears. Allow me to elaborate. Hark here was recently appointed as the event manager for the Funplex. Congrats, that's the cute little mom and pop place where Teo gets his groove on, right? I would categorize it as more like a grandma and grandpa kind of arcade. It's not the fanciest one out there, but it's got heart. I like an arcade with a good heart. It reminds me of my youth. The good old days when you walk into your home away from home, quarter up and enjoy the company. But I digress. Getting too swept up in memories. Tell me more about the proposal. Hark is putting on a special event at the Funplex called Funpalooza. It's a celebration of the arcade scene. Oh, I will. We're going to have high score competitions, esports stuff, mystery game reveals, the works. I'm going all out on it. And Teo, I take it you're doing a dance event as well? He is, but it'd be great if we could add one more thing to the list. Maybe the premiere of a new indie game? Le gasp! Could you possibly mean my game, Magical Moon Cuties? If you'll allow us the honors. Have I given you the elevator pitch yet? All I know is there are magical schoolgirls, and I'm intrigued. It's a competitive cooperative puzzle game where people have to work together to match all the magical orbs before their opponents can. Think three-player magical drop, but with combo attacks. Everyone plays a different adorable magical schoolgirl, hence the cuties part. That sounds better than the last time I heard it. Right? I'm pretty excited to share Magical Moon Cuties to the world. I've mostly been doing some very selective demos for media outlets today, but so far the general public hasn't been allowed to play it. I'm looking for the perfect place and time to release it. Big publicity would mean I might land a manufacturing contract or a publisher, so I could do a wide release. Funpalooza might be a good choice for that, but I'm going to need a little more convincing. What else you got? Okay, Hark, don't blow this. You're connected with Teo. It's all about the heart of the arcade. Think of all of the exposure you'd get. It's all about the heart of the arcade. I mean, Teo, leverage Teo. He's got it, you know? You're connected with Teo. Connection seems to be very important in the indie arcade scene, and Michelle already knows Teo, therefore. Friends help each other out, do they not? Teo's known you for a few years, and he's said nothing but good things about you. In fact, he's been talking up a storm about Magical Moon Cuties and getting everyone excited. It's only fair to support him back. Keeps a solid business relationship rolling alongside a solid friendship. Everybody wins. Friends are the most important, and Teo's one of the best. Plus, I really want to play Magical Moon Cuties too. Huh, fair enough. I was just sassing you anyway. After I discussed it with Teo, I already knew I was going to show Magical Moon Cuties at the Funplex. Love that enthusiasm, though. Really? Really, I mean, it's either the Funplex or Deco's Palace, and while Deco is the heavyweight champion of the arcade world, it's not a good fit for my dreams. Great, so it's settled? I think so. I know so. Magical Moon Cuties will have its first playable showing to the public at Funpalooza. That's awesome. I'll haul my prototype cabinet over to your arcade the day before so you can get it set up. I'd appreciate you keeping it hidden until the event, though. Already bought a mystery concealing chart for our rare game release. Heck, what's one more mystery concealing chart between friends? This will be an event to remember, and I'm thrilled. I can't wait to share the news with everyone. Hark, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. Oh, but I should really be thanking you. Sorry to cut this convo off, but Michelle, your next interview is here. It's Mark from Hexagon. Mark, Hexagon. Got it. It's so hard to keep track of all these different media outlets. Hark, it's been great. My people will call your people, or whatever they do these days. Oh, expect your social media to explode later today. Ta-ta! Yes! And in a flash, Michelle wandered back into the crowd of people, her friend leading her into the next interview, leaving me standing in shock, unable to believe what had happened. A top indie designer premiering at my event? I imagined the adorable smiling faces of anime magical schoolgirls. I could practically hear them cheering me on. I knew everything would be okay. This is my life? Huh? Oh, nothing, just musing to myself. Out loud, nonetheless. No worries, I do that all the time. Mostly when I'm alone, though.
Love it.
But overall, that went really well. I'm glad that Michelle was really excited to bring her game to the Funplex. Me too. Honestly, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.